One stock is definitely ABFRL, that's Aditya Fashion, Aditya Birla Fashion Retail. But what's exactly happening in the entire Birla group of counters? I believe Ashesha is here to tell us all about that. Ashesha?
Well, yes, a slew of corporate announcements and restructuring announcements that have been announced in Aditya Birla Group over the last few months. Let's talk about them one by one. First up, let's talk about the disruption they've promised to do in the paints industry through Grasim, where they say that they are targeting 40% capacity addition and they are targeting 10,000 crores of revenue over the next 3 years. So clearly, disruption in the paint industry is what they are aiming for. Moving on to their real estate arm then, Century Textile, where they say that they are aiming to become one of India's top 3 real estate developers. And they already have a project pipeline of about 45,000 crores over the next couple of years across 4 metro cities. Moving on to metals arm then, Hindalco, where Hindalco's wholly owned subsidiary Novelis has already filed for an IPO in the United States, and they have expansion plans both for their domestic business as well as for their overseas business via Novelis. Moving on to a couple of other businesses that they are into then, and first up, cement major Ultratech Cement, and the acquisition spree over there continues. Remember, they acquired Kesoram Industries in November last year, and they are aiming to increase their capacity to 200 MTPA by FY30. So they are aiming to increase the capacity through both organic as well as inorganic route, and hence they continue their acquisition spree. Moving on to Vodafone Idea then, their telecom arm, where promoter group continues to infuse funds. They raised up to 45,000 crores over the last few months, and promoters continue to infuse funds in this telecom arm of Aditya Birla Group. Moving on to Aditya Birla Capital then, where amalgamation is expected to boost CRAR, which will also avoid separate listing, and as a result of this amalgamation, capital infusion of about 650 crores is expected to happen in this arm. And lastly, of course, Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail, the announcement came overnight with respect to carving off one of their arms. So clearly, a lot of corporate restructuring announcements that have been announced in Aditya Birla Group across its business verticals.
Thank you so much, Ashesha, for putting out what all is happening within the listed space of the Aditya Birla Group and what different companies are focusing on at this point in time. But with this, let's move on and let's also have the editor's take. We have been joined by Nikunj Dalmia, who is the editor-in-chief of ET Now and ET Now Swadesh. And let's get his take on the Aditya Birla Group.
Now let's first talk about the announcement and then we'll talk about the Birla Group. What are they trying to do? See, Aditya Birla Fashion is a fashion of the retail brand of Aditya Birla Group, which actually is housing multiple brands. They've done multiple acquisitions, they've got multiple formats, and that in a sense always has been from a market standpoint the pain point, which is that they are not focused and they have debt on their balance sheet, and that in a sense has hit the stock. You compare Aditya Birla Fashion with Trent. I mean, Trent is just skyrocketed and this one is still kissing the ground. So now the management is clearly realizing that you need to simplify and demerge the structure. Companies which have high margin, high cash flow, keep them separately. Companies or brands which have debt issue, which are not growing, which are in incubation stage, keep them away, and you want to make them big. Because for a shareholder right now, you actually, if you buy Aditya Birla Fashion Retail, you actually getting the entire basket of brands, where in that basket some brands are good and some brands are bad. So I think the idea here is to create entity in which you get the profitable business out, let market value it separately, and then you keep the basket of low growth and high debt separately and let market rediscover the value. But for me, the broader point here is that why suddenly Aditya Birla Group is on this, front foot, trying to readjust everything. So let's look at it. What is the news flow we've heard? Grasim has moved into the paint business. Century Textile has plans to become the 3rd largest real estate builder in India. Hindalco is looking at filing of Novelis in US. Aditya Birla Capital is looking at merging some NBFCs so the holding structure gets diluted. Each Birla Group of company is taking some action, some demerger, or is looking at reorientation so that the return on capital improves and shareholder value could be created. It reminds me of what, let's say, the Tatas did between 2019 and 2021, and what the Mahindra Group has done between 2020 and 2022 when there was a change of the guard. So there seems to be a new vibrancy and energy, at least in the Birla Group. Now, could that be the watch group? Looks like, I mean, they are recognizing that they have valuable assets, and these valuable assets are not getting recognized by the company. It's a typical pattern at play. Tata's did the same, Mahindra did the same, Aditya Birla Group is doing the same. So could this really be the next one in terms of creating wealth now and reorganizing the structure? You know, such a powerful group. It has so many businesses that they really need to realign everything. It's always been this commodity heavy group, right? You've always had metals and cement.
Metal,
And now you're looking at reorienting itself so that value can be created. Just my personal thought, but the pattern seems to be indicating that they're really serious about creating shareholder value. Look at the data from 2020, please. Aditya Birla Fashion and Trent. And trust me, it's not going to be in graphical error. We'll point it out. 2020. Let's look at it. Hold your breath, guys. Sometimes when the graphics also see this kind of in data, we double check them, and we've triple checked this data. Now that's Aditya Birla Fashion for you from the brief. There you go. I mean, it's not a graphic error.
That was the take coming in from Nikunj Dalmia earlier this morning on the entire Birla group of companies and how they are actually trying to reorganize, restructure, create a value for shareholders. But what should you do? Should you look at the Birla group anew, afresh altogether? And what about the holdings that you already have in the group? Let's bring on board Khush Bora as well as Rajesh Agarwal to talk about the entire Birla group of companies. Very good morning to you, Khush, as well as Rajesh. Thank you so much for joining us on Buy Now, Sell Now this morning. And Rajesh, let me come to you. You heard Nikunj's take coming in on the Birla group of companies. And actually, if you look at a lot of the Birla group companies, they have done a lot of work over the last 1.5 years or so. What's your take coming in on the Birla group as a whole, and any top favorites of yours among that pack?
Good morning, Srishti. Good morning, Cheryl. Good morning, Khush. As Nikunj said, it's such a powerful group with so many things under its belt. But if you look at stock performance in the last so many years, they have done nothing for the shareholders. Even when markets have gone double, triple, but these companies have done nothing at all for the shareholders. And this is the right step, I would say, in value creation for the shareholders. As far as being in this group are concerned, we have been very bullish since very long period of time in some of the companies like Century Textile, where the real estate business is going to do very well going forward. And not to forget that they have textiles and paper business under their belt. Paper expansion has been done, and this company is going to be going to give good returns in the long run. The one is Grasim, what is the holding company of Ultratech, and apart from that, their own business is doing well. They even hold stake in Vodafone Idea and other companies, and now they have moved into paint, where the management has clearly said that they want to become 10,000 crore revenue in the next 3 years. So these are the 2-3 companies. One other one is AB Capital, where we find that it's a holding company sort of for all the financial services of the group. But that counter has also done nothing for the shareholders in the long run. But if some kind of restructuring taking place, it's good news for shareholders as such. And I would say, I would suggest buying in Century Textile, AB Capital, and Grasim at this point of time.
Capital as well as Grasim on the top of the list of Rajesh. But Kush, very good morning to you. What's your take on the Aditya Birla group of stocks? A lot of counters buzzing today, be it AB Capital, AB FRL, TCNS Clothing. Other than that, amongst the basket, any stock that still stand out for you and could be the dark horse going ahead?
So, hi Srishti. So, very good morning. Welcome back to Cheryl. Hi Rajesh. Well, a couple of stocks that do make the cuts. If you were selecting some for our portfolio, I concur with Rajesh a couple of things that he's mentioned. Century Textile for sure. This is one stock that's been in an uptrend for a while. Just some volatility along the way, but other than that, the broad trend has been positive. Grasim is one stock that we've been extremely bullish on for a couple of years now, so that continues. I think the dark horse in this entire space, I may call it that, actually can be Aditya Birla Capital. It has seen a lot of selling pressure, and there is a lot of supply pressure also along the way as it moves up. But today's move is like the shakeout that really needed. So I think the 200 level is a little critical one. Once that is taken out, I think the stock can see higher levels of 225, even 240. So I think that's one stock that I'll have on my radar. Aditya Birla Fashion ABFRL, I will perhaps be more inclined to buy on dips. But other than that, not really too much. I mean, idea, we've been tracking for a while. It's seen some good days and then a lot more not so good days. So very selectively. So I think Century Textile, Grasim, and maybe an Aditya Birla Capital is something that I'll have on my radar.
Birla Capital, according to Kush, that is the dark horse. But Kush, to be very honest, a lot of them have been waiting for this particular counter to at least perform well, isn't it? Over the last 1 year or 2 years or so, I've heard Kunal numerous times talk about Aditya Birla Capital, or for the matter of fact, Nuresh. A lot of technical analysts have been on this one. Do you think this time at least it will shine bright? No doubt the brokerage is also backing it.
The thing is that 200 has been a pivotal level. The last time around this stock was at 200, was way back in July 23. So that's where it seems like the stock is seeing some sort of supply pressure. Even if you see the move today, the high hasn't even touched 200 or crossed it. While it's a very stupendous move and volume backed one, my suggestion is that I'd wait. I will not buy into it just yet. The bulk of the move may have already been done. For me, the litmus test really will be passed once 200 is crossed and we're sustaining above that. So while it does look like it will perhaps cross that threshold this time around, I will not preempt it. I will wait and watch. If the stock does indeed cross that level and sustains above that, is when I'll buy. Also, if we are talking just the sector and the space, there are a lot of stocks in this space that are actually doing well. So this really won't make the cut until it has that momentum and has that supply hangover done and dusted. So I'll wait. Once 200 is taken out, is perhaps when I'll put it back on my radar.
All right, so waiting by Aditya Birla Capital to cross that level of 200 on the technical front.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.